Hi and welcome to Crochet with Siska. In today's video, we are going to be making this beautiful sunflower granny square, and this granny square, any granny square, can be used to make your blankets, your Afghans, in fact practically anything depending on the size of the granny square that you are making. Okay, so this granny square that I'm making is a by 16 granny square, which means I have 16 stitches right here, a different kind of stitch here by 16, another one here by 16, and then we have the border, which is going to be white. So this is a sunflower granny square from the color. As you can see, I have a sunflower right here, so you can see that the color sort of matches a little bit. I love the color contrast and the color combination and how it came out in the end. So this is a very, very beautiful project, and this project is going to be super easy, especially if you are a beginner. So you need to actually make one granny square at a time, or you can decide to, make multiples of one step at a time. Now, the reason why I would advise that you make one granny square first is so that you can measure. It is a square, so all four sides are equal. What I have here has a 4 by 4 inch size. So this can help me determine the size of the blanket I want to make along the vertical axis and along the horizontal axis. So I have a work in progress here. I started by making a couple of the brown first, and when I was finished with that, I think I had about 10. When I was finished with that, I went with the second round, completed it, and now I'm on the third one. So once I'm done with this third part, what I need to do is to go ahead and use my white yarn on the border so that it will end up looking like what we have here. So these are the 4 colors of yarn that I'm going to need in this order. I'm going to start with the brown for the magic ring. I'm going to follow up with this mustard yellow, go on to follow up with the bright yellow, and then of course we are going to use our white for the border to make the sunflower pop out a bit. I'll be using my 4.5 mm hook for this entire project. So what I'm going to do is to start with the first round, which is this, is to start with that first round right there. And of course I'm going with the brown, and we're going to do a magic ring. What I'm going to do is to sort of work a big knot, okay, or a big circle. And I'm going to start by chaining 2. So I insert my hook, I pull my yarn through like so, I do a chain 1, and I chain the second one. So that's 2 chains. Okay, so you want to do 2 chains. So after chaining 2, in this circle, we are going to do 16 double crochet stitches. Okay, and this is how to do a double crochet stitch. You yarn over, you can see that I'm holding this part so it doesn't come undone. You yarn over, for a double crochet stitch, you yarn over, insert your hook into the loop, okay, into this large loop. I insert my hook, pull my yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, I yarn over again and pull through 2 loops until I have 1 loop on my hook. All right, so you do that twice. I'm going to repeat it one more time, but faster. So for a double crochet stitch, you yarn over, insert your hook, pull your yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So I've done chain 2 and 2 double crochet stitches. This chain 2 doesn't count as a double crochet stitch. So what I'm going to do is to do 14 more in order to have my 16 double crochet stitches. After completing my 16 double crochet stitch, it's important that you count, because if you miss it in this first round, you have missed it for your entire granny square. We're going to count. I have my chain 2 right at this point, and here is my first double crochet stitch. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16. Very, very important that you count. So now that I have 16, what I'm going to do next is to pull this tail end here in order for us to tighten things up into a proper magic ring. And once I tighten it up, what I'm going to do next is to close this round by doing a slip stitch. All right, so I'm going to do a slip stitch right at the top of the first double crochet stitch, or right after the chain 2. So you're going to look for that stitch. I insert my hook right under there, under the stitch, pull my yarn through, and then I pull it through this loop to close it up. And then once I close it up, I'm going to cut my yarn. We're done with the first round. leaving about 3 to 4 inches. I cut my yarn and then I pull the yarn through like so. Before I go on to continue the second round, I like to tighten things up a bit and also hide my yarn so that when I'm going the second round, this first round doesn't expand and then I have a large hole in the middle. The only yarn I'm hiding is the one in the middle of the magic ring, okay? So I go on to yarn my needle and I'm going to begin to hide this right in between the stitches. And once I'm done hiding the yarn, I'm going to go ahead and cut the excess off. And now we are ready to begin our round 2. For round 2, this is what we're going to be using. And I'll get my magic ring now. So right under the stitch for the first double crochet that we did, I'm going to insert my hook right there. All right, so if you can't see what I'm doing, I hope my explanation is clear enough. I insert my hook right there and I'm going to pull this yarn like so through. You can also decide to create a knot around your crochet hook and then, pull it through. That's up to you, but this is how I like to go. So after pulling through that point, I am going to chain 2. As we go along, I'm going to be hiding this brown yarn. So in that same place that I changed to, I'm going to do something that looks like a half double crochet together. So I chain 2, I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the same space where I changed the 2. Can you see? Pull my yarn through, I yarn over and I stretch out my yarn. I don't want it to be too tight, so I stretch out my yarn and then I insert my hook into that same space. Pull my yarn through, I stretch out my yarn a bit and I have 5 loops on my crochet hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through those 5 loops. So this is our first stitch. We're going to move to the second stitch. We're only hiding the brown yarn. So we're going to move to the second stitch. And for the second stitch, we're going to start with a double crochet stitch. So I yarn over, insert my hook into the next stitch, pull my yarn through, making sure that it is loose a bit. I yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And then I'm going to repeat what I did here after the chain 2 in that same space, in that same stitch where I have done the double crochet stitch. What I'm going to do is to do what I said is like a 2 half double crochet together, but in that same space, okay? So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook, pull my yarn through, making sure that it is loose. I yarn over, insert my hook into the same space, pull my yarn through. I have 5 loops on my crochet hook. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through those 5 loops. And then we're going to move to the next stitch. So this is the first one, this is the second one. We're going to do this 14 more times so that we have a total of 16. We're going for a perfect square. So I'm going to repeat this one more time. For the next stitch, I yarn over, insert my hook, pull my yarn through. We're starting with a double crochet stitch. And then in that same space, I said I'm going to do what is going to look like a half double crochet together in that same space. So I yarn over, insert my hook into the same space where I did the double crochet stitch, insert my hook, pull my yarn through, making sure that it is loose. I yarn over, insert my hook again into that same space, pull my yarn through. I have 5 loops on my crochet hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through the 5 loops. So I'm going to continue till I have a total of 16 right here. So we have completed the second round of our 16 stitches. In each stitch, we have a double crochet and 2 half double crochet together. So let us count. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So what I'm going to do is to do a slip stitch to close this second round off. So I'm going to do the slip stitch right here after the chain 2. Pull my yarn through and then I pull it through this loop. After doing the slip stitch, we are going to cut our yarn about 3 to 4 inches. Pull the yarn through, And we're going to begin our round 3, which is going to be this yellow stitch that you can see here. So for our round 3, here is the yellow yarn, and I'm going to insert my hook where I have the slip stitch, but you need to make sure that it is in between these stitches that we have here. What I mean by in between the stitches, I'm going to insert my hook right before the chain 2. So I think that makes it for a better explanation. I'm going to insert my hook right before, under the stitch right before the chain 2. So I'll go right there and insert my hook. And we're going to pull this yellow yarn through. Like this. So we're not going to be hiding any yarn at this stage because the stitches are sort of like spaced. So you will not be able to hide the yarn. If not, the yarn is going to show. So do not hide the yarn just yet. When you are done with your entire project, you can go on to hide your yarn. So what I'm going to do first at this point is to chain 2. And in the same space where I have the chain 2, I'm going to do stitches that look like a double crochet together. Remember, for the second row, we did a chain 2 and stitches that look like 2 half double crochet together. Right at the third row, we're going to do a chain 2 and stitches that look like 2 double crochet together. So what I'm going to do is to yarn over, insert my hook into the same stitch where I have the chain 2. I insert my hook right there. I pull my yarn through, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And now I have 2 loops on my crochet hook. I yarn over, insert my hook into the same space again, pull my yarn through, and now I have 4 loops on my crochet hook. And then I'm going to yarn over and pull through those 4 loops. All right, and after doing that, I'm going to chain 1. Then I'll move to the next stitch. The next stitch is after the chain 2 and the 2 half double crochet together in the same space, and that is where I'm going to insert my hook next. So for that next stitch, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, pull our yarn through. We are doing a double crochet stitch first. Then after this double crochet stitch, we're going to do the 2 double crochet together in the same space. So I yarn over, in that same space where I have done the double crochet stitch, I'm going to insert my hook, pull my yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over again. In that same space, I insert my hook, pull my yarn through, yarn over, and then pull through the 4 loops that I have on my crochet hook, and of course, I chain 1. So for this stitch that we are making, we are doing it right before the double crochet stitch at round 2. That will give you a clear mark at where you're going to start. All right, so I'm going to yarn over. So here is my double crochet stitch here. I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the stitch before it, pull my yarn through. We're doing a double crochet stitch now. I yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Then I'm going to do my double crochet together in the same space where I just did this double crochet stitch. I yarn over, insert my hook into the same space, pull my yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over again, insert my hook into the same space, pull my yarn through. I have 4 loops on my crochet hook, yarn over and pull through the 4 loops. All right, and then I chain 1. So I've done 3 now. I'm going to repeat this 13 more times so that we can have 16 of this kind of stitches. So after the last stitch here, that's the 16th stitch, and by that I mean the double crochet stitch and the double crochet together in that same space. We're going to chain 1 as we did for the other stitches, and then what I'm going to do is to do a slip stitch after the chain 2, under the stitch after the chain 2 here. So I insert my hook in there, pull my yarn through, and pull through this loop. Then I'm going to cut my yarn and pull my yarn through, and that's it for the third round. So we have 16 there. Always make sure you count, okay? So starting from here, we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 and 16. So we are done with this yellow yarn, this bright yellow yarn, and we are going to go ahead and move to the next yarn color, which is white. And that is what we are going to use to sort of like define our granny square. So I'm going to insert my hook right here in between the stitches. So can you see? This is where I'm going to insert my hook. and then I'm going to grab my yarn. Then I'll pull the yarn through like so, and then I'm going to chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. The next thing we're going to do is to do a treble crochet in that same space where we have chain 3. So this chain 3 counts as a treble crochet stitch. And to do a treble crochet stitch, I'm going to yarn over twice. So I yarn over once, I yarn over again, I insert my hook into the same space, I pull my yarn through. So after pulling the yarn through, I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over again, and pull through the last 2 loops. So that's how to do a treble crochet. Now in this same space, I'm going to do another treble crochet again. So I yarn over twice, insert my hook into that same space, pull my yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the second 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through the third 2 loops. Then I'm going to move to the next space, which is where I did the chain 1. Okay. I'm going to do 3 double crochet stitches in there. So I yarn over, insert my hook, pull my yarn through. So here is my first double crochet. Here is the second double crochet in that same space. And here is the third double crochet in that same space. Then I'm going to move to the next chain 1 space, which is right here. I'm going to do 3 half double crochet stitches. So this is how to do a half double crochet stitch. I yarn over, insert my hook, pull my yarn through, yarn over, and pull through the 3 loops on my crochet hook. So I'm going to do 2 more half double crochet in there. So here is the second half double crochet, and right here is the third half double crochet. In the next space, I'm going to do 3 double crochet stitches. Okay, so 3 double crochet stitches right here. So here's the second one, and right here is the third one. In this next space, we're going to do 3 treble crochet stitches. So I've already shown us how to do a treble crochet stitch. So I'm going to yarn over twice, insert my hook, pull my yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, the second 2 loop, and then yarn over and pull through the third. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more treble crochet stitches right there. After doing these 3 treble crochet stitches, what I'm going to do next is to chain 2. So chain 1, chain 2, and I'm going to do 3 more treble crochet stitches in the same space where we did the first 3. So I'm going to do the second 3 so that we can create a corner for this granny square. After completing the second treble crochet stitches, this is what the corner looks like. Okay, so you can see that it has nicely cornered itself. What we're going to do next is to do 3 double crochet stitches in the next space here, do 3 half double crochet stitches in the next space here, do 3 double crochet stitches in the next space here, and then I'm going to repeat what I've done here in the next space. So it's going to look similar to what we have on this side: triple double crochet stitch, triple half double crochet stitch, triple double crochet stitch, and then we are going to have this corner right in the next stitch where we are going to do a first triple treble crochet stitch, chain 2, and do the second triple treble crochet stitch. All right, so hope those stems are not confusing. So that is what I'm going to do next for this part. After completing for this corner, this is what it looks like. I've done the triple double crochet stitch, triple half double crochet stitch, triple double crochet stitch, the first triple treble crochet stitch, I changed 2, and then I have the second triple treble crochet stitch. All right, so I'm going to continue to do this, move to this next stitch, do a triple double crochet stitch, next stitch triple half double crochet stitch, next stitch, triple double crochet stitch, and then we're going to create a corner here with our first and second triple treble crochet stitch with the chain 2 in between. Then move right here and do a triple double crochet stitch, here a triple half double crochet stitch, and right here a triple double crochet stitch. So when I get to this part, I'm going to tell us what we are going to do next in order to have a perfect granny square. So we are almost at the end of this granny square now. I have completed my triple double crochet stitch right here, and we want to close this off. In order to close this off, I'm going to do 3 treble crochet stitches right here, just beside where we have our chain 3. Okay, so I'm going to do a triple treble crochet stitch, or do 3 treble crochet stitches. So that's the first one. I'm going to go ahead and do the second in that same space, and then I'll move on to do the third. And once I do the third, I'm going to chain 2. So here are the 2 chains, and then I'm going to do a slip stitch just after the chain 3. So I'm going to come right here, close at the top of the first treble crochet stitch, insert my hook right there, pull my yarn through, and then pull it through this loop. Of course, go ahead and cut our yarn about 3 to 4 inches, and then I'm going to pull the yarn through. So that is how I complete this easy sunflower granny square. And what I'm going to do is to go on to hide this yarn where the colors match. So I'm going to hide this one where the orange is, or where the mustard yellow is. Do the same thing for this one. Hide it around where the mustard yellow is, where the bright yellow yarn is, hide it where we have the bright yellow. And of course, this white, I'm going to hide it where I have the white with the aid of my yarn needle. And then for this one, I'm going to leave this one separate. When I'm joining the granny squares together, I'm going to hide this one. I don't think I want to stress myself a lot with hiding yarn. So this is it for our granny square, our sunflower granny square tutorial. You can see how beautiful it is. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to couple this together to make a beautiful, a beautiful granny square, sunflower granny square blanket. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more tutorials, and I'm going to be seeing you in my next video. Bye.